Good afternoon. I'm DJ Wells of the Urban Health Program at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and this is Urban Health Hotline, where each week you'll have an opportunity to call in and have questions answered about things that are going on at the University of Illinois, opportunities that you might want to consider, so that you might pursue a career in the health professions. We'll also talk about issues as it relates to educational access, and we'll talk about community health issues. This is a forum for you to get your questions answered. And remember, it is your show. It's a call-in show, so if you have questions about anything that we're talking about over the course of the conversation we're having today, please call in. The number's there at the bottom of your screen, 312-738-1060, and the phone lines are open, so feel free to call at any time. I'm joined today by Mr. George Smith. And George is the Community Relations Director at the University of Chicago's Center for Community Health and Vitality. And an interesting position, George, but that's not why George is with us today. George is with us because he is a personification of the entire urban health program pipeline. In previous shows, you've heard us talk about pipeline issues, about the need to move people through the educational pipeline towards health professions, and George actually lived the entire pipeline. George started off as a young person in our early outreach program. He went on to earn his degree at the University of Illinois, then went to the School of Public Health here at UIC. He's now working in public health, and he's now working with the Urban Health Program as a volunteer in our Community Advisory Council. So, George, thank you for all your years of service, and thank you for being here today. So we want to ask you a little bit about your personal history, because it really is, like I said, a personification of how the Urban Health Program pipeline works. Let's start with basics, like, where'd you grow up and where'd you go to grammar school and high school?
I grew up on the far south side of Chicago in an area called West Pullman, so right near the city limits.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a parochial high school, and then parochial grammar school, I'm sorry.
What parochial school?
I went to All Saints. Unfortunately, it's formerly closed now. It's a nursing.
Okay.
Now they've built a nursing facility there. And then I went to Whitney Young for high school, and that's how I became acquainted with the early outreach program. So that was about 31 years ago.
we didn't ask you. You didn't have to tell.
Well, but I don't mind. So let's say there's a long-standing relationship with the Urban Health Program.
Absolutely.
So at the time, I was in high school, had a class that encouraged students to look at the health careers, found out about the Urban Health Program. That was around December 1982.
Wow.
Applied. Started in January of 1983. So, it was a good experience. First I was a little hesitant because it was on a Saturday, so I had to get up an extra day and go to class on Saturday, but I thought it was very beneficial, so I enjoyed being in the program.
Sure. I understand we have a caller, and caller, we'll get to in just 1 second, but first I want to mention, George, you just commented that you had to get up on Saturday, and so that early outreach program pipeline, we want to point out to our viewers, it's an academic enrichment program. It helps students get ready for the academic rigor that they're going to face if they want to go into the health sciences.
That's true, and I can say with the supplemental instruction, I thought it was very beneficial. Then at Whitney Young, which is, at the time, we didn't call it STEM, but really was college preparatory, had strong classes there, but it was nice to have additional support. One thing I can say about my involvement in the EOP program / Saturday College was that it gave me an opportunity to get exposure to post-secondary education. There were numerous colleges I had an opportunity to visit. Some of them include the University of Iowa.
Wow.
Went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Went to University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. Sold me there. Went there.
Right.
We went to visit. Had a chance to visit Tennessee State, Fisk, Meharry, and a number of other schools. So I was very happy with my experience with the early outreach program. And one thing too that I would like to say, upon graduation from high school, I was able to get a scholarship. So that does help as well.
Absolutely. Well, do we still have our caller? Caller, did you have a question for George or a question for either of us about the early outreach program?
Either.
Yes, we're listening.
Okay, I am well, I will be a senior come August, and I was wondering, I was looking at all my options. I was wondering if I'll go to community college where my credits transfer over, or if UIC will even accept me.
Uh, Absolutely, going to a community college is an option for you. And actually, the University of Illinois is currently working on programs with all of the area community colleges, with the city colleges of Chicago, and they're also exploring similar relationships with some of the suburban community colleges. But they're doing what they call guaranteed admissions transfer programs, or GAT programs, GAT. And those programs, if you go to the community college and you enroll in this GAT program, where you say, I know that once I finish my associate's degree, then I know I want to go to UIC, and these are the types of programs that I want to pursue. We've got GAT programs in nursing. I believe we're developing one in public health, which is George's area, and all other disciplines as well. But those programs are available, where if you get the grades that you're supposed to get, if you get A's and B's in community college, then you're guaranteed your admission into UIC. So it's certainly an option that you might want to explore. Can I
Thank you.
ask what you might be interested in studying?
Pharmacy.
Pharmacy, outstanding. And you know, one thing that you can do, even if you are thinking of going to the community college first, make sure that you do get in touch with the Urban Health Program early on, because we have folks in our College of Pharmacy and folks in our undergraduate office who will work with you, make sure you're taking the right classes at the community college that will transfer over and that will help you get right into the program that you want. The pharmacy program has a number of additional academic enrichment programs similar to what George was just talking about in terms of the early outreach program, but programs that will help you make sure you're doing the things that you need to be doing, maybe help you find an internship or a summer job working in a pharmacy, because those things will look real good on your application when you're applying to get into a pharmacy school later on down the road. So later on, we're going to give you the phone number for the Urban Health Program and the website for the Urban Health Program. Make sure you take that information down and give us a call.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for calling. So, George, that's just a perfect example of exactly what you were talking about, having that academic enrichment that leads you to perhaps pursuing that healthcare career that you want to pursue.
Yes.
Tell us about your experiences in EOP. You mentioned, it was kind of tough getting up on Saturday mornings. You put in
I'm going to really have to go way back for that. That was before the invention of the internet. So I thought it was very good. For example, we had supplemental instruction in relations to vocabulary, which at the time, starting out, I was like, why must I learn all these additional words?
Right.
But it really helped me and came in relation to preparing for the ACT. So we had classes that helped us with ACT. We had a chance to go into the laboratories and do scientific, experiments. I remember one time we even had a presenter who came from that time. I think it was Dr. Stein or Dr. Steen, who was over the who would do autopsies, and he brought pictures of those. And so I was like, wow, this is really, to say the least. And so I just thought it was very good. We had, the staff was very supportive. It was an opportunity, again, to gain more knowledge and to, get more supplemental instruction, but also an opportunity to broaden your horizons. And so, like I said, I thought it was very positive. I did it for all 4 years of high school, so that was rain, snow, or sleet, or heat. And so I was out there on that bus and taking those 2 trains. So.
Yeah, heat's very appropriate today.
Definitely.
And you point out something. You talked about broadening your horizons and being exposed to things. I bet those types of things were wonderful experiences to talk about, say, on your college application essays. And I mean, I would think that having those experiences makes you a stronger applicant when you're applying to the University of Illinois, which is where you went, or to any other college or university.
I think so, too. And I really think important then and important now. Also, too, when you're looking at the competitiveness of getting in some of the major universities, having more experience is good, but also it gives you an opportunity to learn more about the health careers. As I say, when I first started, when I was in the early outreach program, I was destined to be a physician. I just thought medicine was my calling.
Right.
But had an opportunity to learn more about the health sciences. And so upon completion of my undergraduate degree, that was in biology, so that was a very exciting experience. It was fun. And so went and worked for a year at a major pharmaceutical company, wearing a little white bunny suit, making drugs, and I decided, I really don't think this is my calling. A friend told me about the School of Public Health. I started reading up on it. I was like, this is really exciting.
Right.
And so applied to the School of Public Health, completed my degree, and then started working out in the field, and here I am today. So there's a little bias, but I tell people public health is an excellent career.
Absolutely.
For those of you who are not haven't thought about it, look at public health. One thing that you may not know is that some of the greatest improvements or contributions in health have come through public health. Public health ensures that we have clean water. It makes sure that we have, clean food and a good food source, particularly at restaurants. It gives us information about disease prevalence and incidence. And trust me, when you get your public health degree, you'll be able to define those. But we learned those things about that. But one thing I can say, and I'm sort of passionate about, and they'll get into further, is about encouraging underrepresented minorities, particularly African Americans, those who are Latino but primarily Mexican American or Puerto Rican, and Native Americans into the health sciences. As you know, there is something called racial disparities in health. We will never be able to eliminate racial disparities in health unless those people who are in disparity are able to come into those health careers.
Absolutely.
So I encourage people, whether you're interested in nursing, pharmacy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, medicine, dentistry, public health, health informatics. There's a lot of things that are out there, and I think we need more students of color to get into those fields. Absolutely.
Now, you started to describe public health, and I want to go a little bit further with that. You talked about, I once heard somebody describe public health as a doctor treats a patient and a public health practitioner treats a population.
Great analogy. Yes, public health is population-based. A lot of that term now is coming into light and sort of synonymous is when you're really focusing on population. Medicine is very individual specific. So like when you go visit your doctor, 9 out of 10 times it's just you and your doctor in the room. You have a discussion. Public health goal is to make sure that it's more broad-based, and again to make sure the information is getting out to affect a particular population. For example, I stated earlier how public health ensures that we have clean and safe water. And you may or may not, or some people may or may not know, unfortunately after September 11th, we have something called emergency preparedness. That has come under the auspices of public health. So the goal of that too is to make sure that we have a public health infrastructure, but an emergency infrastructure to deal with catastrophes, should it be hurricanes or other acts of God, or unfortunately sometimes acts of terrorism.
Sure. Before we go any further, I just want to remind our viewers, if you've got any questions about anything that we're talking about, obviously we're talking quite a bit about public health, so if you've got questions about public health, or like our previous caller, if you've got questions about educational opportunities, then please do give us a call. The number is there at the bottom of your screen, 312-738-1060. George, tell me a little bit about... let's go back to talking about the urban health program specifically. When you were a student and you went to University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and we don't hold that against you.
It's an excellent school,
and
everyone should apply and go there.
It is. It's an outstanding
school. Go Illinois, Illini.
And it is part of our overall University of Illinois system. We're all brothers and sisters in this together.
That's right.
What was your interaction with the urban health program, if any, or with the early outreach program while you were down in Urbana-Champaign?
While at Urbana-Champaign, I had limited interaction with the early outreach program, but did have interaction with the urban health program, particularly through the College of Medicine. They had summer enrichment programs in which students had an opportunity to come to campus, even stay on campus, and take classes that first year medical students would take. So they would be anatomy, physiology, immunology, virology, and those such. So I had an opportunity to do that. Had one opportunity my final year to do a research assistant or like a student at the at that time is the Department of Neonatology. So I had an opportunity to work that summer and learn more about neonatology. At that time, still was like sort of leaning towards medicine. Didn't really know about public health, but and so that was my interaction during my undergraduate experience.
Wonderful. And what we want our viewers to know is that wherever you are, even if you don't come to UIC as an undergraduate, and yes, we do want you here as an undergraduate, but even if you don't come here as an undergraduate, you can still reach out to the Urban Health Program at the University of Illinois at Chicago, because our counselors can work with you and make sure you're taking the classes that you need to be taking while you're at whatever university, so that when you do apply to College of Medicine, when you do apply to medical school or dental school or the School of Public Health or any of our other health science colleges, we know that you've taken the things that you need to take so that you'll be a successful applicant. We know that we've had a chance to advise you that maybe you should think about volunteering at a hospital, or maybe you should get a job as a farm tech or something like that. Get a job that's in the health sciences, and especially the health science that you're interested in, or make sure you're talking to people who are doing the type of work that you think you might want to be doing, because those experiences will make your application that much stronger.
That's true. I concur.
And also, as George just mentioned, you talked about ACT prep, and of course the Urban Health Program also has programs to help you prepare for the professional tests. If you want to go to med school, you have to take the MCAT, the Medical College admissions test, or to dentistry school, the DCAT, and to pharmacy school, the PCAT. And so all of those professional tests, all of those standardized tests, we have programs to help you prepare for those. So again, an opportunity to make use of the resources here wherever you're going, because we want you to think about coming here for your professional degree. Now, George, you mentioned something that I think is very important, and that is the need for students of color in the health sciences. And that's very much the mission of the Urban Health Program, to recruit those students here to UIC. In your involvement with the program over the years, what makes UIC so successful at recruiting and ultimately graduating students of color in the health sciences, do you
I would
think?
say, first of all, it would have to be the Urban Health Program. UIC is fortunate to have basically every major health science, all on one campus. So that's great. Also, being a land-grant institution, there's a mandate, therefore, to make sure that residents within the state of Illinois are educated in the health sciences. So I think, that would be good. And what was the remaining part of the question?
What makes UIC good at specifically attracting and successfully graduating minority students in the health sciences?
It would be, I think, some of the support services that are provided. When I was in the School of Public Health, my first semester, I had a class called Biostatistics. It was very intense. I was a little apprehensive about it, but we were able to get supplemental, like tutoring instruction on that. So the Urban Health Program does that provides supplemental instruction or tutoring or support services to all of the students who are in the health sciences. So that's one thing that I would look at. Another thing, too, is that there's a great alumni network. So there are many of me, whether they're in public health, they're in medicine, pharmacy, dentistry. So that's one thing that's great. One thing, too, is diversity. Chicago's a very diverse city. So it gives you an opportunity, and not necessarily racial, ethnic, but also in relation to socioeconomic status. So it gives you an opportunity for diversity. And particularly if you're a state resident, the tuition is affordable. Some of our peer institutions in other states are very expensive. I'm not saying that you should not go out of state, but if your parents have been living here 30 to 40 years and been paying a lot in taxes, why would not come to a state-sponsored institution to make sure? And depending upon, and we just have to be realistic in relations to the cost of education. education is getting very expensive. I always tell people, particularly young people, they say, "Oh, it's so expensive." I say, education is an investment in you.
Absolutely.
And every investment has a cost. And so, yes, you have the rest of your life to pay it off.
Yes.
So I'm not telling anyone to get excessive loans, but it's an investment in you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one more thing I'd like to add to all that, George, and that is, given that UIC is such a diverse place, and we do graduate more minority healthcare providers than any other place in the country, that means when you go to class, there's going to be folks that look like you in the class, and there's definitely something to be said about that.
Oh, yes. Well, my undergraduate experience was a little interesting. I'll just put it at that. And I always tell people, and I was a little naive my first semester, and I just was like, I would go to class, and the instructors would know my name. And I was just like, why do they know my name? There are 36 other people in this class, or 25. And then, I had a little conversation with some other people, and someone says, because you're black. So I was the only black person in the class, so therefore, they say my name, they remember me.
Right.
I do have a jovial and outgoing personality. I think that was it. That's what I thought my first semester.
And that's what I would have thought as well.
But I realized, race may play a part of it.
Right.
Nothing negative, but just a reality.
Sure, absolutely. George, we're just about out of time, but I want to ask a couple of quick questions about your continued involvement with the Urban Health Program. You're a part of our Community Advisory Committee. Can you tell our viewers in a minute or two what that is and why that's important?
The Community Advisory Council is a consist of community members who are interested in providing advocacy and providing their expertise to ensure that the urban health program stays in fruition, but also stays relevant. So there are people who have various backgrounds, whether it be in the health sciences, some may have it in law, some may have it in other things. But the goal of this program is to take key community stakeholders who understand the community and know how to navigate the geopolitical landscape within the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois to ensure that this program is effective and worthwhile, and that there's adequate funding to increase the number of disparate minorities in the health sciences.
I couldn't have said it better.
And I'm not on payroll.
George, why are you a part of the CAC? What has your experiences been with the Urban Health Program that made you say, this is something I need to do?
Well, like I said, 31 years ago, I found out about the program. I thought it was very beneficial. And so I guess because I really like people, so that's why I chose public health, I think it's worthwhile. And I think that, we have a lot of things that are going on within the city of Chicago, particularly within, and I'm just going to be a little biased, the African-American population.
Sure.
We have some challenges in relation to not only violence, but education, attainment, and status. And so those of us who have been fortunate to attain professional degrees, I think that's the least we could do. People were mentors to me who would give me advice and support, and that's how I was able to get here today. So I feel that it would be a disservice for me not to help others.
Absolutely, and you just said something that's very important that I want to make sure we point out, that we hit on, and that is that the Community Advisory Council, and you talked about the importance of them being advocates of helping to navigate the political landscape and pushing for funding. But you also serve as mentors, and so many of our students do come back and talk to our CAC members and draw upon them for mentorship to make sure that they're taking the correct path in their own educational and ultimately professional careers.
Correct.
Well, very good. George, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for allowing me to be on here. And remember now, the UIC is the great place to go to get your advanced degree in any of the health sciences.
Absolutely.
So come here.
Absolutely. It absolutely is. And not only is it a great place to go to get your degree, but we've got the services here to support you to make sure that you're successful in getting that degree. And that's what the Urban Health Program is all about. So thank you for spending some time with us today. I mentioned to our caller before that we'd give some information on how to contact the Urban Health Program. If you've got any questions about public health, about any of the educational opportunities that are available here at the University of Illinois at Chicago, about the Urban Health Program, you can call us. Our number is right there, 312-996-7727, or you can visit our website or check out our Facebook fan page. Any of those ways are ways that you can get connected to the Urban Health Program and get your questions answered and allow us to help you pursue your own educational and ultimately your own career goals. Thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon. For the University of Illinois at Chicago and the Urban Health Program, I'm DJ Wells. Hope to see you next week.